Welcome to Tarnished. This is the first video in the micro series of PvP builds using Elden Ring's lore-esque themes to create something unique. So you're not seeing any cosplays from other games, just strictly from Elden Ring itself. Unlike the other videos, these will be much smaller in size and focus strictly on the PvP aspect of the game. However, fret not, these work just fine for the world too, which is a usual testing ground for things. But one thing before we move on to the build, do me a favor, like and subscribe and share this with your friends who also like Elden Ring and appreciate themed builds. But enough of that, let's get into it. The Zamor Skirmisher from the frigid waste of the north. It is said that these knights of Zamor were hailed as heroes in the war against the giants. These long-lived warriors, clad in biting and freezing winds, have been the mortal enemies of the fire giants since time immemorable. Our stats for rune level 150 are 60 vigor, 15 mind, 23 endurance, 45 strength, 54 dexterity, and 16 intelligence. For our weapons, I picked out one of, if not what I think is, the most unique looking curved sword in the game. Of course, it is the staple of our build here as well, the Zamor Curved Sword, and our backup weapon, the Partisan, with the Ice Spear Ash of War. For our fashion, I wanted to mix a few pieces but also keep the Zamor look. We have the Zamor Mask, the Zamor Armor, Scale Gauntlets, and Scale Leggings. Overall, gives us 51 poise and just wearing the full Zamor set, which only nets us 38. For our talismans, I decided to go with Shard of Alexander, Spear Talisman, Crimson Amber Medallion +2, and the Claw Talisman. Our Spear Talisman helps us keep out with our counterattacks with the Partisan, which we'll be switching to on and off during fights, keeping it in our back pocket. And with how good roll catching is with the Curved Sword, the Claw Talisman is for a little more damage on our jumping attacks, which we'll be performing quite often. The Zamor Curved Sword, weapon wielded by the Knights of Zamor, who earned great renown during the war against the giants. In apparent devotion to winter, the curved blade is styled after an icy wind and imbued with the powerful frost effect. I tested this thing on a full dex build and I come to realize it is definitely more of a quality weapon. With its unique R1 chain, you can spin 360 degrees between each attack, like a dancer. Each attack also provides momentum forward. While it is the shortest curved greatsword out of all of them, the uniqueness allows it to stand out, as well as the charge R2, but I find myself having a hard time pulling this one off. However, it can be a good mix-up with the double attack it has. A quality weapon with 65 frost buildup, and the unique Ash of War that can only be replicated via sorcery. Zamor Ice Storm, plunge the curved sword into the ground, building power before unleashing a freezing storm that batters the surroundings. This icy storm costs 15 FP, deals 39 stance damage to PvE enemies, and staggers most players who get caught in it, and if they aren't careful, it can lead to their deaths pretty quickly. It is slow to throw out, but it can be used to catch people in their approach. Sometimes it might be worth the risk to trade it with a jumping attack if you manage to pull it off, or against someone who is using a lighter weapon, which you can poise through once the hyper armor starts. The Partisan, spear with a wide tip. In addition to its thrusting attacks, this highly versatile weapon can be swung to sweep through foes. The Partisan scales with dexterity and strength, so it fits the quality aspect of our build, but I also put it on the Zamor Skirmisher to cover our weakness, reach. The Partisan is a faster poke weapon with oppressive R1s and deceptive R2 sweeps. I used the Ice Spear Ash of War to keep the theme. While this is also slow, it allows you to pressure players to keep it neutral and aren't paying much attention in team fights. In duels, it can be used to punish attacks with bad recovery, or even jump attacks with some cold hard damage. Hitting anywhere from 800 to 980, getting one to hit your target can be quite devastating and usually puts the others on the back foot for you to be aggressive with your thrusting attacks on the spear or your beautiful curved sword. The R2s are quite useful to throw out charged. I've gotten a few good kills with my opponents roll spamming near me only to get clipped by the lingering hitbox on the sweep. It deals decent damage too. The only downside to this entire build is sticking to the theme and not having a way to reset the Frostbite, though that is really only useful in PvE since the damage in PvP is already high enough as is. I use this build in duels as well as 1v1s and 2v2s in the arena, and I actually had some decent invasions, which really does allow our Zamor Ice Storm to stand out, especially against swarming phantoms and aggressive hosts. Before I leave you with some uninterrupted fights, remember to switch weapons often. Mix up and apply pressure when you think your opponent is sitting in neutral. Be aggressive with the roll catching on the curved greatsword, and crouch poke with the spear itself. Jump attack often as it's usually safe, and overall, remember to enjoy yourself. I hope you all enjoy this new style of video in my PvP themed build series, and I'll see you in the next video. Tarnished.